You know that feeling when everything seemed to be going well, and then without any warning, something changed. She was warm, she was responsive, she was present. And then one day she was not. The messages got shorter. The energy shifted. The same person who used to light up when she saw you started treating you like a stranger. And the worst part is, you have no idea what happened. You replay every conversation in your head. You try to find the moment where things went wrong. You wonder if you said something, did something, or maybe just were not enough. That confusion is one of the most disorienting experiences a man can go through, especially when he genuinely cared about someone. Most men in that situation do one of two things. They either pull back and go quiet, hoping she will notice and come back, or they start trying harder, sending more messages, asking if everything is okay, becoming more attentive. And neither of those approaches actually solves the real problem. Because the real problem is not about what you did or did not do. The real problem is that you are trying to respond to behavior without understanding what that behavior actually means. When a woman suddenly goes cold, most men assume it is a reaction to something external. But almost always, it is a signal of something internal. And once you understand that distinction, the entire situation looks completely different. If this kind of content speaks to you, consider subscribing to this channel. Every video here is built around helping you see these patterns more clearly, so that you can navigate relationships with more awareness and less confusion. You deserve to understand what is actually happening around you. Now let us get into the real reason this happens. When a woman suddenly becomes cold toward a man she was previously warm with, it is rarely about a single event. It is almost always about a shift in how she perceives the dynamic between the two of you. Men tend to process interactions logically. They look for a cause and effect. But women process interactions emotionally. They do not always have a clear reason they could explain in words. What they have is a feeling that the balance shifted, a feeling that she started needing something different, and she is not sure how to express that, so instead, she creates distance. That distance is not punishment. It is not a game. It is a form of emotional self-protection. When a woman feels uncertain about where she stands with a man, or when she senses that her emotional investment is not being matched, she pulls back. Not to make you chase her, not to test you, but because she is trying to protect herself from getting too invested in something that feels unstable to her. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever experienced a situation where a woman you genuinely cared about suddenly became distant, and no matter what you did, you could not figure out why? That kind of confusion sits with you silently and makes you question yourself in ways that go far beyond just that one relationship. If that resonates with you, drop a comment below and write the words, "I have been there," so others who are watching can see they are not alone in this. Because more men go through this than you might think, and sometimes just knowing that other people have felt the same thing makes it a little easier to process. Now here is where the insight gets deeper. The reason so many men misread this situation is because they interpret emotional distance as rejection. And rejection feels like a final answer about your worth. But emotional distance is almost never a verdict. It is almost always a question. She is not saying you are not good enough. She is asking without words whether you are stable enough, grounded enough, certain enough to handle the uncertainty she is feeling. And the way you respond to her distance matters far more than what caused it. When a man becomes anxious in response to her pulling back, when he starts over-explaining himself, checking in too often, making himself smaller to hold the connection together, he confirms the very thing she was unsure about. He confirms that his emotional state is dependent on her response. And that dependency creates exactly the kind of instability that made her pull back in the first place. This is not about playing games or pretending not to care. This is about understanding that emotional security is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. Women are extraordinarily attuned to emotional energy. They pick up on insecurity, on neediness, on the quiet desperation of a man who needs approval to feel okay about himself. And they respond to that energy before they respond to anything else. So what actually works in these moments? The answer is simpler than most men expect, but harder than it sounds. What works is genuine self-possession, the ability to remain present and grounded without making her emotional state the center of your stability, communicating clearly and calmly without over-explaining or seeking reassurance. This kind of emotional groundedness is rare, and precisely because it is rare, when a woman encounters it, it stands out. It creates safety, and safety is what opens people up. Here is another dimension worth sitting with. Sometimes a woman goes cold, not because of something you did wrong, but because she is going through something internal that has nothing to do with you. She might be processing something emotionally she has not found words for yet. She might be pulling back because she is developing stronger feelings, and that vulnerability scares her. Not every shift in her energy is a reflection of your behavior, and one of the most mature things a man can do is hold space for that possibility, rather than immediately making her emotional state about him. When you stop interpreting everything as a verdict on your value, when you stop needing every interaction to confirm that you are wanted, something in your presence becomes more powerful. You stop reacting, you start observing. And that shift in how you carry yourself has a real effect on the dynamics around you. The real lesson behind why women suddenly go cold is not really about women at all. It is about the nature of emotional connection and how fragile it can be when it is not rooted in genuine security. Connections built on anxiety about whether you are enough will always fluctuate with every emotional shift. But connections built on presence, on genuine interest without attachment to outcome, on the quiet confidence of a man who knows his own value, those connections have gravity. They pull people in, rather than pushing them away. If you have made it this far, carry one thought with you when you walk away from this. The moments that confuse you the most in relationships are often the moments that are trying to teach you something about yourself. The confusion is not the enemy, it is the beginning of understanding. Keep paying attention, keep observing, and keep asking better questions about what is really happening beneath the surface. That is where the real clarity lives, and there is much more of it waiting for you here.